I'm imagining people now walking into charity shops going, Sam might wear that. I'd got in a bit of a pickle. I was told off at one point for too much rustling. Hello sewing friends, welcome to another episode where it's a catch up, chatty, what have I been doing, what am I planning. In today's episode I'm going to tell you about why I put myself on a sewing ban. And I'd like to start today by thanking people who have very kindly bought me a Ko-fi. If you don't know, I do have a Ko-fi account. There is no expectation, but if you wanted to say a little thank you, the details are in the box on the side below, wherever they are now. And also I'd like to say thank you to the lovely follower, viewer, I don't know what we're calling you lovely people, who sent me this and another necklace. She contacted me over on Instagram and I didn't know what she was sending me, and I opened them to this gorgeous one and a lovely sort of jade coloured one as well. So thank you so much. I'm imagining people now walking into charity shops going, Sam might wear that. So thank you, that's very kind. I have, as you probably saw in the title, put myself on a sewing ban this week, and you're probably wondering why. Well, I will tell you all about that, but also I'll tell you what I was sewing before I put myself on the ban and what I'm going to do once the ban is over. So let's start with, why did I put myself on a sewing ban? Well, the reason being I needed to have a sort out. I'd got in a bit of a pickle and I was just sewing, stuffing patterns in a box, not putting them away, sort of trying to put fabric back but sort of stuffing it sometimes, and underneath there was a system, but I just got in a bit of a pickle. And also the scraps mountain was literally a mountain. It was scaring me. So I decided that the best thing to do was to pick a day when I would ban myself from sewing, and it would motivate me to get done, because then the quicker I got done, the sooner I could start sewing again. So the days preceding the ban, I sewed to my heart's content to make sure I did, obviously fitting in with life. And then I put myself on the ban from Monday, and I'm pleased to say that I'm filming this on Friday and Friday lunch, and the ban finished last night, because before I went to bed last night I finished the last bit of the scraps mountain, which I left to last because I wanted to have everything else done and then do that and know I was at the end. So I have done a proper sort out and tidy that's spread across all the areas where I keep sewing items, but also I kind of weirdly dipped into like everyday stuff at one point as well, once you get going sometimes. But I broke it into like small pieces. So I started with paperwork that was clogging up the room that I'm in now, which is where I sew but also where I work and where I keep my like personal documents, because obviously as when I was a teacher, if you get another job, there's a certain amount of documents you have to show, like DBSs and things like that. And so I started with paperwork because it just felt like it cleared space. Once I'd done that, I had to rearrange, and you probably never noticed my machine sat here before, and here was a printer and I kept just filling it up. So I decided to move that and get rid of the paperwork that was on show all the time, which I wasn't using or needing that much access to. So I needed to slim it down and put it away. And then I was able to put the printer sort of more out of the way, and it means my machines have got a proper space that's not in front of something else, because where they used to be, they were in front of things or on the floor or on the desk. And it means that when I take them off here to put them on the desk, I've then got a bit of working space as well. I cleared out the drawers in my desk full of old paperwork, things I didn't need, and I've left room now so that when I'm not working, my work laptop and keyboard and everything can go into a drawer, which is quite exciting. And then it means they're completely out the way. I reconsidered my shelves, and I've realised that one of the important things I need to do is have empty shelf space. Now right now they're not empty because they've got the projects that now I can sew again, I can finish sewing, but it means I've got space for midway done projects, because sometimes if I'm sewing in a lunch break, I'll do everything I can on my overlocker, and it might mean I've got 3 projects partly done, and they would end up in the zippy bags on the floor, and then the floor would become, as my other half said, a bit like landmines where you're scared to walk. So by having a bit of shelf space that is for whips that are fresh whips, I've got a place to secure away things that I'm just not looking at for a bit. It means that I can get to them easily, but there's a specific space for them, and that will go down quite quickly now because now I'm back to sewing again. I'm quite excited to see what my whips are and get them finished. Some of them it's just silly little things like hems and things like that. And then I rearranged the shelves on this side a little bit, so there's just like a nice bit of space. It's not everything jammed in. And the shelf unit that sometimes you might see in the background of here, which has all my like ponties and knits, I've re-rolled everything on there and I've resorted it by patterns and planes, and it's just a bit nicer to look at now. I tidied the shelf unit on the floor, so I haven't changed what's on there, but I had a tidy of it. I also slimmed down some things I had in another storage bit to again move something to make space for the whips, and I was quite ruthless with a few whips that really I'm never going to finish. So they've gone, and all the patterns, one evening I sat down and watched TV with the other half and put all the patterns either into their envelopes or into new envelopes. So I ordered a whole batch from CLC Prints and put them all in. I was told off at one point for too much rustling, but they're all in, they're all labelled. And actually again, I binned to that there's no point me putting in envelopes because I'm not going to make them again. I didn't like the pattern and I'm not going to make it again. And I've got them as PDF, so if I do have life regrets, I can just have it reprinted, but it's pointless and taking room on the shelf. I asked everybody on Instagram, do you sort your patterns by pattern company, pattern like clothing type, or made and unmade? I had this amazing response from somebody telling me all the ways she sorts it. I've decided to go for item of clothing because if I'm in the mood for trousers, I want to look at trousers, cardigans and so on. So I've organised that, but not the big 4. The big 4 they're just a bit random because I don't have that many of them. And the lovely person who said they then number them and put them on, I think it was Trello or something, and I know lots of you use like Stash Hub. It's more about finding them on the shelf. I have no problem knowing what I've got. It is more about finding the pattern when I want it, and I think by doing them by clothing item it reduces the amount to search through. So that's how I've done those. And then I tidied up like the table that's like our dining room table that we don't really eat at, but we do use for things like bits of Lego and stuff like that. And I tidied that, put things away, and there was just bits out, you know, like a random packet of buttons and things. It's just, life happens like that, doesn't it? And then last of all, it was the scrap mountain. Now the scrap mountain's an interesting mountain because it started as a box of fat quarters and bits like that when I cleared all that out to make more room for dressmaking fabric. So I didn't at the time want to get rid of that because I have used it to make little things and quilted jackets. So I do like having that. But then I just kept adding to it with bits from when like I made this cardigan, and then I chucked the bits on, and then I started putting like really thin scrappy bits on, and it just got out of control. And then I decided I wanted some scraps to make something, and I searched through it, and then I was just like, it's just got horrific. So then I put some of it in a bag, and then I just stuck the bag on top. So I literally stuck on a podcast. I love Uncanny on BBC, and did it in batches through the day yesterday. I put in bin bags the really tiny useless bits, and I'm going to try and find somewhere for fabric upcycling. and then in 2 other boxes I put scrap pieces that were big enough that someone could use, and the gorgeous Mary has come to my rescue and is taking those off to give them to a place that she found that would like them. And then I saved a few bits because I will make another quilted jacket. I will make things where I want scraps, so I have allowed myself a certain amount of space for those, because I will, and so as long as it doesn't go beyond that, that's the allowable space I've now decided. So that was where I got to. I have been quite firm with myself about things because it's just, otherwise it's just uncontrollable, because I like to save fabric to harvest things from, but then I have to be realistic of which ones I'll harvest from. So some items of clothing have gone to charity, and wow, I'm very much enjoying walking into this room right now. I know it. No, I know I won't stay perfectly tidy. I know at some point I'll get busy and I'll make a mess again, but there was a structure underneath which I kept, and like there was pattern envelopes and all those sorts of things, but it's just about constantly refining it and also dealing with the bits that get out of control. So what did I sew before the ban? Well, before the ban, I was frantically sewing in the hope that I'd finish these and didn't quite. So these are a pair of Tilly and the Buttons Stella joggers in a by Graziella fabric, and they're a nice sort of lightweight jogger. I ran out of the fabric, so I actually used like a contrast but sort of worked with it teal waistband. I've just got to put the elastic in and then decide on whether I want them 3/4 or whether I want to put a cuff on. This fabric you can buy still from them, but it's from their German site now. They don't have a UK site anymore. I wish I'd known. I think I've said this before when they were closing down, but by the time I realised they didn't have anything left, I really love the quality of their jersey. And then I almost finished something that I've been talking about on and off for a while, and if you are a regular viewer you will have seen. I had this green stripe and this lavender stripe fabric. I can't 100% tell what it is because it's kind of slippy on the front but not on the back. It's not quite as drapey as viscose. I'm not sure. I bought it from Fleur when she was sort of pausing for a bit, and I've made the Paolo workwear jacket into a sort of shirt / blouse. It's the second time I've done that. So I've done the alternate bits on the front like this. The collar has that on the front and that on the back, and then on the back I've done the yoke on the diagonal and then that there. There isn't a yoke on the actual pattern, but I've cut one into the pattern and do seam allowance. And then on the inside for the facing, I did the matching colour facing for the side that it was on. So buttons and cuffs to do. Oh, and I'd hemmed the bottom. So this for me is more like an overshirt, like a summery overshirt, when you don't want like a cardigan like I've got on today, but you just want a little something. And also I just wanted to sort of exercise my creative desire to do this kind of shirt. We'll see how we go. And then the final thing, oh no it's not, second to last, the penultimate thing that I started was the Seasons of East dress that I planned in my summer makes in this gorgeous drapey viscose. I've got as far as sewing the front and back pieces together, so now it is zip time and then the other side to sew down. So I'm really close to being done, but not there. So I'll talk about those more. If you want to know more about my many Seasons of Easts, jersey and woven, there is a whole episode on that, which I will try and link up here, try and remember to link up there for you. So the final thing, which I did finish before the sewing ban, is behind me there. Let me just grab it. And this was also something that I mentioned in my summer plans, and I love it when I've planned something and it becomes reality. And from the second I bought this fabric, I knew what I was going to do. So I bought this fabric when I was in Brighton earlier in the year, and it's a lovely, like I would say, like a viscose jersey. It's super soft, and I always knew it was going to be a Westcliff, and it is. I had a slight issue with the bottom, is I was under generous with my gather, so I had to cut it off and do it again, but I had enough to do that, so it wasn't a problem. I've done the sleeve quite short, and I have the belt, she says, being scared. Oh, there it is, which I'm probably going to hand stitch onto one of the sides. I decided not to do it so it was attached in, but I probably will hand stitch it on. I did a little cheat when I did the gather here. I actually just stretched this top yoke to match the width of that, and I think it's turned out fine, because you're supposed to gather it, but it's worked, and with a bit of a press I think it'll be fine. Because I'm 5'2", I do not need the 2 skirt lengths at the lengths. This bottom gather is half the length that it is in the pattern, because you need to watch out if you're a shorty for that. I know Bex has just made another one as well. She and I are both massive Westcliff dress fans, and I can't believe this is only ever my second one. She's made loads more. The lovely Sam of So Let's Sparkle with Sam has given some great fitting tips about the Westcliff dress recently as well. But what all three of us have noticed is that actually you can still buy the paper pattern in various places like the Fold line, but the PDF has disappeared everywhere. So all I can think, and Sam and I were talking about this, is we think that maybe they are like reviewing it and extending the size range perhaps, but I've done a big search. I can't find anywhere what Friday Pattern Company have said. It is one of their older patterns, so whether they're planning to relaunch it, but if you want to get it right now, you'd need to get it as a paper copy. I've seen it still on the Fold line, or wait for a bit, and I'm sure that Friday Pattern Company, I can't believe they wouldn't re-release it. I can't see why, but it's one of my favourite patterns, and I know there will be a third one. There is a top option which I like the idea of trying, but I worry about, because it's jersey, riding up. So I might do it in like a less favourite jersey, and then if it goes wrong, it's not the end of the world. So that's where I got to before the ban. The good news is the ban is now lifted, because I've done all the things that I planned to do. So what next is the question. Well, what's next is I am going to do the refashion of the hospital gown. I know what I'm going to do and hope it works. I'm going to finish my 3rd Bertha cardigan, and I'm going to get a quick wiggle on with making the bodysuit that's for the Busy Bee Sewing Challenge. Whole episode which I'll put here about what pattern I got and everything, and running out of time. I've got less than a week to get that done, so I need to get a serious wiggle on with that. I'm just looking what else is on the to finish pile. And then there's a trouser situation that happened. I will save that for my summer trouser episode, which is coming soon. Not every trouser and not every pattern can be a winner, is all I can say. I'll keep you in suspense over that one. I'm looking over here. Oh, and I will finish the Iron Barber blouse. So there's a few things, and I've got a couple of bits cut out as well to get on with. So I'm very excited to share with you my next set of makes and finishes. I might have to have a whole section on my vlogs now of finishes, things that I actually finished. Watch out, because very soon is coming. I have recorded it, I just need to edit it. The Rainy Girl Summer edit that I've done, which is basically how to create a summer wardrobe that feels summery but fits with, get ready, here it comes, the weather we're having. As Beck said this Friday in her vlog, it wouldn't be a British vlog, a UK vlog, without us mentioning the weather. Well, rather than keep mentioning it all the time, I did a whole episode and mentioned it a lot. So that's coming out very soon, where I've come up with patterns, like capsule wardrobe suggestion of what items you need. So I really hope you enjoy that. I've been working on that and I'm just on the edit now. I would love to hear how you organise your patterns, and if you spotted any fabrics in this episode while I was tidying that you would like to see me sew up, and also how do you handle your scraps? And I'm gonna see the lovely Mary soon, because she's gonna come and collect all the boxes of scraps for me, which is fabulous. And I can't wait to finish work this afternoon because these machines will be out.